this is Susie Q of Susie Q's Happy Little Haven, and welcome to my nursery room window. Next thing I'm going to do is my cranberry sauce, so that's next. Then I'll do my sweet potatoes, my green bean casserole, and all the rest of the things, but cranberries are next, so see you in the cranberry section. Okay, so now we're ready to do the cranberries. So I've already washed them and rinsed them off and all that. And I'm going to be doing a double recipe, so it's going to call for 3 cups of sugar and 1.5 cups of water. And so I'm going to go ahead and what they say to do first is to simmer the cranberries in the water over medium heat. So I'm going to turn the heat, I'm going to turn the heat on to high right now to get it going. And then I will simmer it for, let's see, simmer cranberries in water over medium heat. Oh, so you bring it to a simmer, then you add sugar, and then you simmer it for 10 minutes, stirring occasionally. All right. So what I'm going to do, rather than have you watch a pot boil, I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on these cranberries, and I will come back whenever they have started simmering. Okay, so they're starting to simmer. Let me see if I can get the camera right, and you can hear the popping. So what I'm going to do now, since they have started simmering, I'm going to go ahead and add the sugar. Go ahead and give them a stir. Okay, put the sugar in there. And now this is supposed to simmer for 10 minutes. So that makes the sauce. The sugar and the water makes the syrup. Did you know that? Sugar and water makes syrup. That reminds me of when I lived at home, and we didn't have a lot of money. You know, we had 4 kids and 2 adults in our family, and so we didn't have money for all the good stuff. So my mom used to make syrup out of what she would use is a cup of water to a cup of sugar, and then a teaspoon of vanilla. And she would make that up for our pancakes or waffles. So yeah, you know, when you don't have a lot of money, you just make do. Okay, can you see those pretty things? Aren't they pretty? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let them simmer for about 10 minutes, and then I'll be back. So I wanted to show you the foam that happens in these cranberries. Isn't that neat? I love cranberries, and it's so much fun making them too. And you have to use a really big pot because what will happen is that foam will boil over. So I'm hoping this pot is big enough. I think it will be. But see all that nice foam? And we have about, I had to reset the timer because it wasn't quite at the simmer that I wanted it to be. So we have about 9 more minutes. I just thought you would have fun seeing the cranberries in their cooking process. So we'll be right back. So here they are, they're still simmering away and getting all kinds of foam. You know, this reminds me of when I make my blackberry jam, because you have to boil the water and sugar like that, and it gets that foam on it. So I guess if you wanted to make cranberry jam, all you'd have to do is add some fruit pectin or something like that. Sorry about the fan in the background. I forgot that I had that on. I usually cook with my fan, so I hope it didn't make too much noise. But yeah, I just wanted you to know, for whomever hadn't cooked cranberries before, I just wanted you to see like the before, during, and after process, so you could see what it looks like. So we have about 6 minutes left, and we'll see you in just a minute. Okay, so the cranberries are done, and they're super, super hot, but this is what they look like, and it's going to get much thicker as they cool. So what I'm going to do is put them over here on the other side of the stove, and I'm going to let them cool down. And my plan is as soon as they cool down good enough, I'm going to put them in a glass like this, a glass bowl like this, and I'm going to put them in the fridge because I really, really love my cranberry sauce cold. My husband does too. You can tell what era I'm from. This is the famous avocado Pyrex dish set that I have, or bowl set. So if any of you out there have the same set, we are from the same avocado green Pyrex era. Okay, so next what I'm going to be doing is the green beans. So the next thing we're going to do is get the green beans ready for the green bean casserole. And it looks like some of these, or actually what I should do is say most of these green beans need their ends cut off. And so I'm going to demonstrate that and show you how we do that. So this is how you take the ends off of your green beans. Sometimes you can get green beans at the store that don't have the ends on them already, but these particular ones have the ends, and so that's fine. These are French green beans. They're the skinnier ones. So I'll take the green beans and I'll just pop the end and then snap it in half, just like that. So I popped it. That one doesn't have an end on it. Looks like some of them have ends and some don't. So yeah, I used to help my mom pop green beans, and then when my daughter was living with us, she helped me pop green beans too, and it goes really fast with 2 people. But yeah, this is how you do it, and I like my green beans about this length, so that's why I'm popping them in half. They probably would be pretty good, just, left this nice long length, but they're just kind of hard to eat that way, So yeah, it looks like they have one of the ends cut off on all of them for some reason. Maybe this batch just didn't get the other side cut off, but anyway, this is the process. You just take the ends off, and they're called snap beans. Okay, so that's how it's done, and I will not bore you with doing both packages on video, so I'm going to go ahead and put you on hold for a minute while I finish doing the beans, and then we'll come back and we'll get the rest of the green bean casserole started. So now I'm going to prepare the rest of the ingredients for the green bean casserole. And what that's going to be is we're going to have some more chopped onion or diced onion, some sliced mushrooms, and some diced ham. And so I always add those extras because I just think it makes it taste so much better. But the recipe for the green bean casserole, it's the French's green bean casserole. That's because of the fact that the French's is the brand name for some French fried onions, that go in the casserole. But anyway, so I'm going to double this recipe because I have a ton of green beans. So this recipe calls for 1 can of condensed cream of mushroom soup, 3/4 cup of milk, 1/8 teaspoon of ground pepper, 2 cans of green beans, but I have I have fresh green beans. It says, the substitutions are 4 cups of fresh or frozen green beans, so I use fresh green beans. And then 1 1/3 cups of the crispy fried onions. So that's the recipe. But right now I'm going to be chopping up the onion and dicing it up because like I said, I'm going to I'll dice the onion and I'll dice the ham, and then I'm going to fry them up together, like saute them up in a skillet and make, you know, the onions all grilled and the ham really nice too. So, like I said, those are just the extra ingredients. When you cook this recipe, make this recipe, you don't have to add that, or you can add your own, you know. Like, I'm a recipe person. I always have to have the basic recipe, and then if I want, you know, if I feel like it needs it, I will add some more stuff to it. But I always need that basic recipe, except for the turkey dressing that you saw me make. That recipe is in my head because I've made it for many, many, many years. Let's go ahead and get these diced up. And then I'll dice the ham. Which is right here. I always like to add ham to my green beans, even when I'm doing green beans that are fresh off the vine, and it's not the casserole type green beans. You know, I'm just having green beans. I'll always have ham and onions in them because it's just super, super good like that. I'm trying to figure out what that doesn't belong there. What doesn't belong? So I'm going to go ahead and do what I always do with everything, and I slice it up really thinly first, and then I go crosswise, and it's, voila, it's diced. I don't know. I guess I like to cut corners and do stuff the fast way, you know? So see, that's all diced now. Good trick, huh? So, after we do this, and now I'm going to slice the mushrooms that I just washed. So yeah, I washed the mushrooms, and what I do is I have this, it's called a mushroom brush or a vegetable brush, and it's super, super soft. It's made for mushrooms because of the fact that you can take the mushroom and under the water you can scrub it off, scrub all like the dirt and stuff off. So, and it doesn't harm the mushroom. It's super, super soft. And then another thing I was going to tell you, the difference between a ripe or a mushroom that you need to use right away and one that can last a while. This is a mushroom that can last for a while. See how it's all closed up underneath? It's all nice and tight like that. These mushrooms are ready to be used. They're starting to open up. See that gap that's around the stem? And this one's ready too. There's nothing wrong with using, like if you want to buy mushrooms that are already this way, that's fine, because if you're going to be using them right away. So, but I always like to get the mushrooms that aren't open because they stay fresher longer. But you can use these in cooking as well. I mean, there's really no taste and difference. So I'm going to slice my mushrooms. I'm going to leave the stems on, stems and all. I'm going to go ahead and take all these ingredients over to the stove, and I'll meet you at the stove. Okay, so now I'm going to add some canola oil to the skillet, because that's what I'm going to saute the green beans and the ham in. The onions and the ham. So we'll turn this on medium. And I'll go ahead and just put the onions and the ham in there. And then, let's see, I'll get my spatula, my wooden spatula, and we'll get to cooking. So yeah, this is a really easy recipe. It's just, you know, it would be super easy if you didn't have to add, or if you didn't want to add the ham and the green beans. So yeah, this is coming right along. You can hear it sizzling. Can you smell it? It smells yummy. And it's not going to be long now until everything is all sauteed and grilled onions and grilled ham. I think it's time for me to put the mushrooms in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And that way they can cook too. And so this is going to be our addition to the green bean casserole. Okay, so the ham and the onion and the mushrooms are all done. And I'm going to add them to the green beans that have been cooked until crisp tender. And I'm going to mix this all together. Okay, let me go ahead and set this aside. So go ahead and mix this, just so that it's all evenly distributed. And then the next thing that we're going to do, I'll let this sit for a minute while we add the cream of mushroom soup and the milk to the casserole dish. Make sure this is all stirred in together nicely. I love the color of the green beans. That's why I like using fresh green beans. Number one, they taste really, really good, and then number two, they're so nice and green. Okay, so I'm going to bring the casserole dish over here. And I'm going to put the cream of mushroom soup in. So like I said, it's a double recipe because of all the, let me get you down here, because of all the green beans that I'm using today. So it's going to be 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup. That came out nicely. And then I'm going to add 1.5 cups of milk. I'm going to stir it all together. And I'm using canned milk today. If I had enough fresh milk, I would use, fresh milk, but canned milk works as well. So go ahead and mix that together. And at this point, I'm going to go get my whisk, because I think a whisk would work so much easier than this wooden spatula. And it does. It cuts up the mushroom soup really nicely. It blends it all in there. So let's see, it says, oh, okay, so you do this in this casserole dish, and then I need to put some pepper in there. So I'll go get my pepper. And then I put all the green beans in there, and it says, so 2/3 cup of the French fried onions. So I think what I'm going to do is add about half of this can of the French fried onions, because it's a double recipe. And I'll put it together like that, and then use the other half of the can for when I bake it for the last few minutes to get the onions crispy on top. So let's see here. Trying to blend it all together. I'm making a mess. Yeah, no wonder they want you to blend the milk and the mushroom soup first, because you got to get the mushroom soup blended together with the milk. I think that's really good. As I keep stirring and wanting it to be perfect. That's my perfection streak coming out in me. I just want the milk all into the mushroom soup, and I think that's good. Okay. So next I'm going to put the green beans in there. There we go. And then what I need to do is stir it all together, mix it all up with the mushroom soup. And it looks like I'm going to need to put this on a cookie sheet because this is actually the biggest casserole dish that I have. And it might bubble over a bit. We'll see. Let me get a paper towel. Like I said, I use a lot of paper towels, and I'm kind of making a mess here. Okay, let's just go ahead and I'm going to get my other spatula so that this is like the faster way to do it. You can just kind of scoop it up and turn it over, and all the beans get coated. There's one. There's a pesky one that tried to get out. He says, "No, don't cook me." I says, "Yeah, I gotta cook everything." Now this is going to be yummy. My husband likes an extra soupy green bean casserole, and so this is looking like it's going to be just right. So this is going to be yummy because we're going to put about half a can. This is what they look like. And these are good enough just to eat right out of the can if you like onions, which we like onions here. Now these ones are supposed to be blended in, and then the last like 10 minutes of cooking, you put the other ones on top, and that way they get like brown and crispy and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll cover this, and then we will get on to making, preparing ahead the sweet potatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then we'll be right back with the sweet potatoes. Okay, I'm back, and we're going to start on the sweet potato casserole recipe. But before we do that, I wanted to mention that I sustained an on-the-job injury, and that's my thumb. What happened was, here in West Virginia, we separate our paper goods from our canned goods. And so this is one of those pop-top type of cans that's supposed to be, the rim around it is supposed to be so that you won't cut your finger. Well, anyway, it is. I mean, you're not going to cut your finger on the outside edge, but see that little inside edge there? That's where I cut my thumb. And because I clean out my cans, I wash them out before I put them in the can container so things don't start smelling after a while. So anyway, what I did was I cut my thumb all the way, like from one end to the other, all the way around. And so I stopped, and of course, I put some Neosporin on it and a couple of Band-Aids. And then what this is, so that I can continue cooking, I took a sandwich baggie and I cut the end off of it, and then I poked my finger through, and then I put some little rubber bands around my thumb, the ones that I use for my baby girl's hair. So anyway, now I can continue on cooking, and then when I go to wash dishes, I'm going to use my rubber gloves, of course. This is the last thing that I'm going to be demoing, because the only other things that I have left are the mashed potatoes and gravy and the rolls. And I think everyone knows how to make mashed potatoes and gravy, so I won't be demoing that. But I will be showing you a nice picture of our pumpkin pie with whipped cream in the video too, so towards the end. So anyway, okay, so we're going to be doing the sweet potato casserole, and I'm going to do it up to the point to where it needs to be baked, and then I'm going to bake it and the green bean casserole together in the oven after I take the turkey out. So, for the sweet potatoes, so here are my sweet potatoes, and I'm not going to use all of these. It used to be that stores had sweet potatoes that you could choose one by one, but this was all in a bag, so I'm probably only going to use like probably 2 of these sweet potatoes. And then here's the brown sugar. And you know what? I'm probably going to add cinnamon too because I like cinnamon with my sweet potatoes. And let's see, let me go get the vanilla. And the vanilla goes in there too. And then there's some salt also and some butter. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cook the sweet potatoes in boiling water and cook those up. And then after I do that, I will be back and I'll put the sweet potato casserole together for you. Okay, so I have my sweet potatoes all cooked up. I peeled them and I diced them, and then I put them in some boiling water, and they cooked for about 15 minutes. They are a much harder potato than a regular baking potato, but anyway, they're all done now. And so the recipe says add sugar and the next 3 ingredients. And so I'm going to add 3/4 cup of sugar. This is brown sugar, by the way. And the way that you measure brown sugar, let me put this up. Let's see. I need to switch some things around here. Okay, here we go. So, in case you don't know how to measure brown sugar is packed into a measuring cup. So it's not like the white granulated sugar where you just pour it in. This sugar, you put it in and then you pack it down. And so what I do is I use the edge of the package to just pack it down in there. So here's our sugar. As you can see, it kind of comes out like you're making sandcastles. So there's that. And then it also calls for 1/4 cup of softened butter, which is what this is. And then 1½ teaspoons of salt, which I need to go get. There's the salt. Gosh, that's a lot of salt. You know what? I'm only going to put 1/2 teaspoon in there because that just sounds like a lot of salt to me. I just don't like things that are super salty. And then, let's see, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I'll go ahead and get some vanilla. Let's see. I don't have my 1/2 teaspoon is right here. Actually, I'm going to put a teaspoon in because I really like the taste of vanilla. So, see what I do with my recipes? I kind of, I make little changes in them. Okay, so then it says you're supposed to mix this mixture with a potato masher, but I don't have a potato masher, but I do have a mixer. And so I'm going to go ahead and mix this, and I'm going to mix it while you're on, but I'll take the sound out and I'll edit this later on. But anyways. Okay, that works. Let's see, I think I'm going to need, I know, I was going to put cinnamon in it also. I have some cinnamon over here because I really like cinnamon on my sweet potatoes. So I'm going to add some cinnamon. I just kind of stir that in. I had to go get my spatula. Now this recipe calls for pecans, but I don't have any pecans, so I'm not going to put any nuts in here. I think this will be just fine without pecans. Okay, so what, then it says to put the potato mixture into a casserole dish or a bowl. So I found a bowl that I thought would, or a bowl, but a casserole dish that I thought would work really good. Just the perfect size. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in there. And then after you get it in there, then it says to, you know, to swipe them all around and put them in there, you know, to where they're all the way to the edge. So I'm going to take it up to this point, and like I said, I'm going to bake this later on. And I think because of the fact that there's just not very many sweet potatoes in here, that it's probably not going to take the full 35 minutes. I think the whole point of baking them is to get it totally, you know, heated throughout and stuff. So, but anyway, it says to smooth it out like this. And I know one thing that I forgot to do. I was supposed to put spray oil in it. So I'm probably going to have issues with trying to get the sweet potatoes out. All right, so that's another blooper. Have you been counting my bloopers today? So let's just see what happens. Let's see. So, oh, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and top it with the marshmallows, which are right here. And I will bake it later. So yeah, we will definitely put marshmallows on this dish. I love marshmallows. I can eat them right out of the bag. Big one, you know, like the huge. Did you know that they have these big, huge ones? I bought them one time at Walmart a couple of years ago. I wanted to use them for s'mores. But they were just way too big, but man, I sure loved eating them. They're just, you know, like I said, I love marshmallows. So I'm putting an extra in there because I love them so much. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up with plastic wrap. Let me go over to the drawer here and get it. I didn't realize that I was going to need it again. I love this plastic wrap. That it's a Walmart Great Value brand, and look at how nice this is. This looks really awesome. So you know, it's got a cutter along the edge like that, right? So you just you put the paper or the plastic over like that, and then you just cut the edge like that, and voila. So I'll put these over there with the green bean casserole. And like I said, after I get the turkey out, I will put the green bean casserole and put this in the oven. And then after these are cooked, I will be cooking my rolls. So I guess that is the end of my cooking demonstration for today. And it's been really fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think of the way that I cook my dinners and what my traditions are. And it would be nice, it'd be kind of fun for you to give me your comments about your traditional Thanksgiving food. Again, I know you've done it already, but for those of you who haven't, or for those of you who want to repeat it, just let me know what your traditions are and how you make your different foods. So anyway, thanks for joining me today, and I hope you're all having a good Thanksgiving with your families or with whoever is celebrating today. And anyway, thanks for visiting, everyone, and until we meet again, bye-bye.